We made it. So we're on YouTube. Beautiful.
Good.
Now I can set up Facebook.
In 1960,
Back over to Cliff.
In 1960, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee was first published. I've got a friend who was Harper Lee's paperboy when he was younger.
Who was Harper Lee?
She wrote the book To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, understood.
Paper Girl was my first job. I think they should bring those back for some of these kids to show a little responsibility. But actually, I take that back because kids today just don't care, so maybe none of us would get papers.
Yeah, that could be. In 1767, John Quincy Adams was born. 6th President of the United States. He died in 1848. In 1937, George Gershwin passed away.
You write the Star Spangled Banner?
Rhapsody in Blue.
Same thing.
And tonight is 11th night in Northern Ireland. It's marching season, and tomorrow is the 12th, commemorating the Battle of the Boyne. You're familiar with marching season, John?
Just as familiar as I am with the New Jersey Turnpike.
Wow. Pretty familiar then.
Yeah, I was down there yesterday. Drove 975 miles yesterday.
Did you go all the way to the tip and cross over into Delaware?
Went to Delaware. I went down to Maryland.
Yeah.
No, in Virginia.
Yeah.
Went all the way down to Virginia. So it was a nice ride.
So, Eileen, the Karen Reed show, she's moved to have her civil case dismissed?
Yeah, no, I mean, good for her because John O'Keefe's family want to say that they've caused them emotional harm, which, I mean, I get it. This whole situation should cause them emotional harm, but they're not really taking it out on the right person, and they should really be going after Mass State Police and the way this prosecution and the investigation was handled. Karen Reed, like, I can see it in a way, like, in terms of inevitably, maybe if she wasn't flirting with Brian Higgins and know what was really happening and then didn't bring John to the house, right? I get all of that. Like, she ultimately brought him to his place of death, right?
Yeah.
I could almost see that, but she's just, the person she is not a murderer either, like in any way, shape, or form. She didn't know, like, none of this was premeditated. I don't think it was premeditated on anyone's half. I mean, but this cover-up and all the questions surrounding it was very premeditated in ways that don't add up. So I just think that the O'Keefes have misplaced aggression, but they've also become good friends with, the McGilbert family, who, Jennifer McCabe had one of the very last conversations with him. So you can almost see why the mother is attached to her. And it's just, honestly, it's just a sad situation. No amount of money or no amount of lawsuits ever going to fix any of this. I think they.
How's that okay? How's that okay? What does she owe the mother? She's going to escape with millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't. I mean, she was great to that family, even though they really didn't, the mom didn't like her. She was really great. She used to go to church with John O'Keefe Sr. every Saturday at 4 o'clock. She was great to those kids. She took them on vacations. Like, she's a good person, inevitably. But she just got judged heavily. And, I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't think she owes the mother anything. I don't. I think the state owes the family something for the horrible investigation that they did for an officer, a Boston police officer, because it shouldn't have happened like that.
Okay. So, Brian Koberger out in Idaho, he's gonna just go to jail and not have to fess up?
Oh, that was so chilling, watching him say yes and guilty to the murders of the human, like each name and the human being. It was so chilling, I have to tell you. I've heard a lot of reports that he did it because he doesn't want his family to go through the agony, like almost like Brian Laundrie's parents went through with the Gabby Petito case. I guess I don't know, but I believe people. I have heard out there that he may give an interview, and whatever money he gets will go to his parents.
Ah. Boy, it's taken a long time. Those shootings were in November of 2022.
I'm interested to see if he would ever talk. What do you think was the reason he ended up going with the plea deal?
I think that he didn't want to go through the trial and the personal recrimination that would come from that.
Yeah.
So,
I think it was Kaylee Goncalves' father who was saying that, you know, we have the flight records, that the parents booked him a flight. Like, so the parents do have some culpability in it as well, from what it had sounded like. So I think a part of it was that he did want to protect his parents who tried to protect him.
yeah, and we have a couple of other murder cases slowly grinding through the system. Luigi Mangione, cold-blooded killing of the CFO of United Healthcare. And then we have Elias Rodriguez, who killed Yaron Lashinsky and his girlfriend Sarah Milgram. And Sarah was trying to crawl away, and he just emptied his pistol into her. Just terrible.
What was the name again?
Elias Rodriguez. He did it for Palestine. He killed these two people coming out of a party for Israeli embassy workers. Yeah.
Man.
But did you see where John Brennan and James Comey are under criminal investigation over Russiagate, which was, what was that, 8 years ago?
I did not see that.
Yeah. Those are a couple of arrogant fellows. John Brennan, I think they've got him for perjury.
Hey, do you think John Brennan and Hank Brennan could be related, Cliff?
Which one's Hank Brennan?
The one that prosecuted the second Karen Reed trial?
No, I don't think so. I was thinking about it. I know a John Brennan, but not this guy.
Right, but I wouldn't be surprised. They're both kind of corrupt.
Well.
And the one works for the FBI, one works for Whitey Bulger. Worked for.
No, he worked for the CIA.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the FBI.
No, that's James Comey is the FBI. And now that the producer's here, we can talk about the Superman movie. which I tried to generate some interest at home, and nobody was interested in going to see Superman.
Well, if Ella doesn't
It
want
is-
to go, you want to go? I'll call you.
I don't know. It's controversial.
What's controversial? Superman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the lead actor is really against Trump. Is that what it is?
Yeah. And the producer. They've dropped the theme. Remember, Superman used to be for truth, justice, and the American way?
Yes.
They don't talk about the American way anymore. Not in this movie. And the marketing folks are pointing out that Superman is an illegal immigrant.
Oh my God. I can't. From where? Kryptonite?
Yeah.
I can't.
That
So what?
changed
They're
my
going to
mind.
strip him of his powers?
I'm no longer interested in going. I don't want to go to this political fiasco.
Well, yeah, I was hoping that somebody out there in the audience would have a thought on this. But part of it may be that nobody out in the audience can see us. I don't know.
No, we're on.
Yeah. So,
I got to put the link on YouTube, and then we'll be. I'll share it with everybody.
all right. So 10 people have been charged for an organized attack on ICE agents out in Texas. Not just ICE agents, but a local policemen too. And about half of them were women. Took place on the 4th of July. And the charges against the people are attempted murder. Assailants allegedly wore military-style gear, including tactical vests. They launched fireworks at the Prairie Land Detention Center near Dallas, Texas. And then they sprayed bullets at a local cop and unarmed federal agents. Once a suspect unloaded 20 to 30 rounds at 2 detention center workers, and the police officer for the town of Alvarado took a gunshot in the neck. He's not okay, but he's not critically injured. So
Well, that stinks.
the whole thing is bad.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
How do people think it's okay to shoot out the ICE people?
Well, how do people think it's okay to just go pick a guy up and kick him out of the country in front of his kids?
It's like the Luigi Mangione mentality. They're not happy with ICE for the decisions that they have to enforce. And so anything can happen. Anything goes now.
Well, look, I think they should take the ICE agents. Put the camera on me for a second. Take the ICE agents and put them on the highway and calm down and arrest people doing road rage. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to drive down to Maryland and saw a lot of the beautiful eastern seaboard of the United States, went down south of Washington. Beautiful stuff. The road rage that I saw happening in every state needs to get fixed. Now, the only ones out there ahead of the game is Maryland. Maryland is experimenting with speed cameras. And I'll tell you, when it comes over my little Waze thing, it tells you, speed camera ahead. You look at the odometer to see how fast you go, and you drop your speed to what the limit is, because I don't want to get a ticket. But I did see one of the Maryland cruisers set up with these, and they're portable speed cameras. So I commend Maryland for being ahead of the game. But the road rage in the United States of America on the highway is absolutely ridiculous. I had a guy, two different gentlemen yesterday, on my bumper, beeping their horn, flashing their high beams for me to get out of their way, which I eventually did. But where are they going? And what I'm doing 75, and they're doing 85, 90. So I think we need to take all those ICE agents, put them on the highway, and give me a ticket. That's what I think they should do. Back to you, Cliff.
So, John, you raised the issue of arresting someone. Let's say they were arresting someone for attempting to assassinate the president. Would it be okay to arrest them in front of their children?
Yes.
How about for robbing a bank?
No.
No, they should let them go?
Don't arrest them in front of their children.
Where should they arrest them?
You should go over to the house and say, you need to step outside, sir.
But that's in front of the children.
No, they're not putting handcuffs on daddy in front of the kids. Sir, you need to step outside and give us and talk to us. We're going to take you for a little ride. And you surround the house with all the ICE agents. And that's how it should be done. You shouldn't arrest parents in front of the children.
Yeah, you know what, John, obviously I didn't go as far as Maryland, and that was a lot of driving for you yesterday. But just driving Anthony back and forth to summer school in Newton, I see it all the time. I'm constantly looking to the left, to the right, to the behind me, because you can't trust anybody anymore. It's scary.
Yep. And there's nobody to look to. The state police, the only thing they're doing is babysitting construction projects. They're not giving tickets. Except in Maryland.
And the state police babysitting construction projects is taking work away from unwed mothers and college students.
No, I think it's a perk of the job. It's a nice perk. And because I'll tell you, driving through New Hampshire, where they let the mothers guard the construction project, and they have a pole and they spin the thing, stop, go, stop, go. And many just ignore them. So what do you do when you have the likes of me, or even worse, the likes of Eileen Delrossi driving Anthony to school, and she ignores the mother with the pole? Just ignores her. Just blows right by her. What happens, Cliff? They get a big bowl of nut and honey. Nothing happens to you. She might yell, hey! Nothing happens. But you know what? You have a Nashua cop goes like this. And you stop. Because I respect the authority. But the mother with the little pole going backwards and forwards? No. Nashua cop, Lowell cop, it's a perk of the job. Give them their perk. Because if you and I get into a skirmish and we're rolling around in the gutter with our knives out and we're trying to kill one another, Eileen's going to take her cell phone out and she's going to put it on Facebook. People might stop their car and watch.
I'm not that coordinated enough. I wish I could.
No one is going to stop the fight except the police. The police should be
Right.
rewarded for their courage and for what they do to prevent me from knocking the daylights out of you.
Well, I mean, tell
Thoughts,
you the
Cliff?
truth, even in Lowell, you see a lot of details with police officers, and they're not even paying attention. And they're supposed to be directing traffic. It's very disturbing.
Well, no, they're just babysitting the hole. No, it's a perk, Eileen. It's a perk. Like, when you're at work and you go on break, and if something happens, you'll engage with the students at the school. But other than that, you're on break. Your job is to teach, not discipline. And sometimes when discipline creeps up on us and we have to exercise our discipline, we'll do that as a teacher. But your job is to teach. not to discipline. Would you agree with that?
Right. No, yes,
Okay.
I agree with that, but it's just, it should go hand in hand. Students should be able to accept consequences, but now,
There aren't any.
but the way the laws are, you just can't.
Yep, crazy cockamamie stuff, and we're just, everybody, hey, Eileen, for next week, for next Friday, I'm gonna ask you how many kids stayed back. Can you find out?
In Lowell?
Yeah, you're a school committee woman.
Yeah, I'll ask. I'm gonna go with 0.
Yep, I'm gonna
We'll
guess
see.
out of 16,000 students, they all got promoted. But just ask to be on the safe side, thanks.
I will.
I think Massachusetts is the only state that uses the police to play the flagman job.
Cliff, it's a perk.
I know it's a perk. It's obvious.
Get over it.
Not every perk is a good thing.
Cliff, walk into the State House, the Town Hall, any place you want. Walk into McDonald's. In McDonald's, everybody's working. You walk into an office building, I don't care if it's a lawyer's office, whatever lawyers, you walk into the rectory. Not a lot of heavy lifting going on there. Sometimes there is, but most times, like we're lucky enough to go to church after church after church. And you go into the rectory office for a book or an instrument that's going to help do the funeral. And the gal in there will put the phone on. Hold on, Myrtle. I'll be right with you. Can I help you? Yeah, where's the men's room? Oh, it's down the hall to the right. She's on the phone with her friend Myrtle. Not a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah?
Leave the perk alone. I think it's a nice perk for the cops. I think when they have a shortage, like I'm a firm believer that I think these utility jobs where they have the city guys out there digging a hole, and I know we don't do that in Lowell anymore because Tommy Golden's hired so many of his friends that they don't know how to dig a hole anymore. We have to hire some people who know how to dig a hole. And they need to have a detail cop every time we have a truck out in the street. Just looking at that poor, 2 incidents last week where guys got knocked out of their bucket trucks because there was no cop around. The girl was there with the pole. They ignored her. They don't ignore a uniform. Dangerous out there, Cliff. Just my opinion.
Yeah? So, back to California. Why did we go back to the mountain? There we go. Is Karen Bass trying to make California Mexico again? Do you know Karen Bass, the mayor of LA?
No, not really. Do we like Karen Bass?
I don't. I think she's
Can you get to the point, Cliff?
she's not a first-rate mayor.
What color, Cliff, Karen Bass, I bet you don't know. What color does she paint her toenails?
I have no idea.
And nobody cares. So please tell us what she's famous for. Why did you bring her up?
She is the mayor of LA.
Yeah? Okay, cool. And Danny Rourke is the mayor of Loma.
Yeah. Danny was not missing when part of the city burned down.
We all go on vacation, Cliff.
And Danny didn't sue the federal government because ICE agents showed up.
you want to get to the point of your story, Cliff? I have no idea who you're talking about. This woman could walk by you and me, and we would not recognize her. And more people are interested in what color does she paint her toenails. Would you tell us what the story is? Why are you aggravated with this gal?
Well, it looks like LA riots are descending into some sort of ethnic conflict. You even have the president of the Mexican Senate suggesting that California should be returned to Mexico.
They won't want to go.
Hmm?
They won't want to go. California, they're not going to want to go to Mexico.
On the other hand, people in Mexico City are protesting against tourists. Americans showing up and gentrifying the area. So,
Well, rural Caribbean can't go to Labadee. How do you like that?
yeah.
No Labadee for you rural Caribbean people.
So, so you think it's okay these people wearing balaclavas and
What's a balaclava? That a pair of shoes? Like Buster
no,
Brown's?
that's that head covering.
Oh, like a hoodie?
No, like a dish rag. And screaming "Viva la Raza!"
I'll look up balaclava.
Long live, which is long live the race. These are
How are we spelling balaclava?
BALACLAVA.
Balaclava. So, this is what you say a balaclava is. Oh, it's not going up on your screen. Son of a gun. Got too many screens open, sorry. There's your balaclava, ladies and gentlemen. And they're on sale right now for $40. That's a lot of dough for a ski mask, don't you think?
Yes.
So it's like a ski mask.
Yeah.
What do you use this for? Keep your hair down?
Hide your face.
How does it do that? Your nose and eyes are out. I'd recognize you there.
Well, some people think that it.
I'm going to go with ski mask. Let's go with ski mask. Look at this. This is much better. Look at this ski. And it's $6. These balaclava people, they're way over $40 for this balaclava. Cheapest one here is $11. And then we have our American ski mask right here, $6.43. And I think that's better face covering, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So look, you balaclava people, something you should consider. The American ski mask. Back over to you, Cliff.
Okay, so somebody tweeted out about 2 weeks ago that people taking offense to the phrase "death to America" are either being intentionally obtuse or they don't understand what it means.
Well, what does it, when you say death to America?
I don't say death to America.
All right, let me rephrase the question then, my genius friend. See, Cliff is always the smartest person in the room. Cliff can process two thoughts at the same time. So he's always a whole mindset ahead of everybody he's talking to. When I say death to America, when I hear that phrase, death to America, what do you think when you hear that phrase, Cliff?
I think that they want revolution in the United States.
That helps me a real lot. Can you elaborate on that? Like put a few more pizza toppings on it? What the hell are you talking about? They want a peace uprising in America.
No, they want a revolution in America.
And
They want the United States destroyed.
okay, so they're going to blow up City Hall?
Yeah.
And what's the gain there? Other than jobs for constructionaires, what's the gain?
The gain is that the United States is evil and must be destroyed.
Look, they're the ones with the sandcastles over there, blown up the whole place. They can't even take a good shower. They can't even get a clean glass of water to drink out of a pipe. Nah, I think we got better. What's going on here is much better.
Okay. So, do you want to tell us what Katie said?
Well, I'm more interested in what color her toenails are, but I don't know what Katie said. And when you're done, tell me what Katie said. What color are her toenails? Eileen, what color are your toenails today?
Oh, they're a light shade of pink because I recently had them done.
Say that? Women take care of themselves, not guys. I don't paint. I used to paint my mother's toenails. I love doing that job.
So, Katie Karp says, it doesn't mean little death to the people here. It's not inciting violence. It means people want to destroy the oppressive system we live under. Now, I'm not sure how she thinks she can get from A to B.
Katie, Katie, what's her last name?
C-A-R-P. I tried looking for her. I'm not sure who she is. But the Citizen Free Press...
She's a yoga teacher.
Oh, could be.
She's one of these women. She likes fish, yoga. Don't know. She definitely likes fish. Katie Karp, C-A-R-P. Maybe that's a carp.
That could be. None of us can see what you're looking at, though.
You know, I'm going to fix this screen once and for all, so I think I don't get with these misreadouts anymore. Now there's only one screen to look at. See, there's Katie with her carp. And there's Katie, the yoga person, way over to the left. She's also called Katie Karp. So why is this woman famous? Because we're going to annihilate America? Death to America?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go Death to America, Katie.
So, anyway, the leader of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula calls on American Muslims to assassinate Trump, Vance, Hegseth, Rubio, and Elon Musk.
It looks like she's affiliated with CNN. Katie Staberfeld. Now, she's the poor girl who got a face transplant. Katie, death of a horse race. Nope. Apparently you're making this up, Cliff. There's nothing on the internet about this. So, sorry.
Yeah. There you go. But,
So let Katie Karp go. And one of the comments from the audience is, too much information, John. TMI. You're right.
so, I just wanted to go back in history a couple of weeks. The California Senior Senator Alex Padilla crashed a Kristi Noem press conference, and security reacted and took him down. And then the Democrats on Capitol Hill counter-reacted. Did anybody see that? Do you see that, Eileen, in the news?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
The takedown of Senator Alex Padilla, the Kristi Noem press conference?
No, I did not see that. What went down?
Well, Kristi Noem was having a press conference and he barged in and started shouting questions at her, sort of upsetting the ongoing activities, and security reacted and put him on the floor. And the Democrats on Capitol Hill got all upset about that because they felt that it was disrespectful to a U.S. Senator. On the other hand, in my mind, I suspect most of the people there had no idea who he was.
Most likely.
Yeah, I mean, if someone came barging into the school committee meeting, shouting questions and demanding attention, do you have a policeman there who will protect the members of the school committee? No. That's not a good sign. What do you think, John?
I was concentrating on something else. What did you say?
Do you think that the Kristi Noem's security was right to put this guy on the floor for barging into the press conference and shouting and demanding that all attention go to him?
A lot of overkill there, Cliff. I've been to plenty of public meetings, and when you have somebody comes into a public meeting and they're disturbed, we'll take Lowell City Council. Let's say a character like me goes up to the podium and goes like, I'm sick and tired of what's going on here. Danny Rook will stop the meeting, try to help the guy. Hey, buddy, you're little crackers. Can we help you? And the
I'm sorry, Cliff. I was in the middle of doing something, but we don't have, the city council has police there, but the school committee does not have police there.
You should demand a cop.
Yeah, you're right.
Put it on the
'Cause you never
agenda.
know.
Demand a cop. DAC. Demand a cop.
Yeah.
DAC.
DAC. For my own public safety, as I go down there to testify at a school committee meeting and somebody doesn't like me, I think there should be a cop there to stop any kind of physical violence that happens. So I think that this Kristi Noem having some guy busted and thrown on the floor and everything else, overkill by the authorities. The authorities got to rethink okay, buddy, let's stop the meeting. What's the sense of, what was so doggone important? Well, because the news conference never would have been on CNN. Never would have been on channel 4, 5, 7, 11. So what was it so important to knock this guy onto the ground and arrest him? Unnecessarily. If the guy just said, look, buddy, can we help you out here? Kristi Noem's press conference was not going to go anywhere. I don't think did you ever see the press conference? That's a question, Cliff.
Yes, sometimes I see them.
No, did you see that press conference that this guy was busted at? I'll bet you didn't.
No, I was not watching that press conference.
Okay. So, this guy got busted, everybody saw that. Shouldn't have happened. Use your head. You have all the authority in the world to put the cuffs on this guy and drag him away. You didn't have to. Lowell cops don't do that baloney. They'll try to calm you down. Hey, how you doing? You okay? You all right? Got any pain? Okay, so what's going on here? How can we help you out? And they calm things down. But these idiots that arrested this guy, idiots. They need some retraining. Come to Lowell, learn how to calm things down. Lowell cops, Tewksbury cops, they calm people. I don't have any experience with Drake, but Chelmsford cops, Nashville cops, cool, calm, collected. Hey, can we get you a coffee? Get you a water? That's how they respond to stuff. They calm everybody down.
Melanie Gilbert.
Oh,
Yeah,
saved your day, Cliff.
there we go.
I'll be right there, kiddo. Thanks.
So I wanted to raise a question in the last minute, and that is China, is their view on fentanyl coming to the U.S. really long-term payback for how the West treated China during the Opium Wars, which was...
What is China's rule on it? What do they say?
Well, I don't know, but China's pushing fentanyl on us in a big way.
You can think about that. We're going to go to break.
Canada Dry, is that made in Canada?
I don't know. I would assume so.
Is that subject to the tariffs?
No, probably not because it's covered under NAFTA.
Under what?
NAFTA.
NAFTA.
Or whatever NAFTA is now.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask Melanie how she feels about the takedown?
About the who?
We'll get to it in a second. First, we're going to introduce you.
All right.
Are we good to go, John?
You're on.
We are
Good
live.
morning, everyone. Welcome to City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Eileen Delrossi, my co-host, is hiding behind her telephone.
Good morning.
Are you still on Christian Hill?
Yeah, we're about to head out.
Okay. And our guest today is Melanie Gilbert.
Good morning.
And I saved from the history rendition this morning because, are you from Detroit?
I am.
Yeah. On this day in 1795, the United States took possession of Detroit from Great Britain under the terms of the Jay Treaty.
There you go. And that was like, what year was that? What year was it?
1786.
Yeah, that was, we had a very strong French presence in Detroit. I think it was a French colony before. It was, you know, the Brits took it over.
So the Brits stole it from... The Brits stole it from the French?
Yes.
You're the Detroiter.
Yes, they did. We had a lot of French names, just like Lowell. We have a lot of French names for our streets and predominantly streets.
What do they call people who live in Detroit?
Detroiters.
Detroiter,
Yeah,
okay.
or, you know, Motown.
Impoverished.
Yeah, right.
No, in Lowell, it's Lowellians,
Yeah.
Draketeers, Chenfeteers. I don't know what you call it.
Chesford Tears? Oh, that's
Chenfeteers.
interesting. Tewksburyans?
I don't know what Tewksbury, maybe it's Tewksburyan. I'll have to ask my crapman.
Tinsboroians? That's a mouthful. Oh, today I have my little plug for local businesses. Because there was no traffic, I think everybody's on vacation. So I just cruised right up here. I didn't have to lane shift or jockey for position or anything. I just was a straight shot. I stopped up at Brewed Awakening and got my hot chocolate.
Downtown Lowell? Mm-hmm.
And they
Okay.
open at 6:30. So and there was parking. And there's you don't have to put money in the meter until I think 8, right? So I just pulled right up in front, walked in, said good morning to Andy, asked for my regular hot chocolate, and away I go.
Wow.
I know. So
Now, the donuts came from
You
where?
know what I think it is from my study analysis of driving back and forth to Newton all week is that I think people take Mondays and Fridays off.
Oh, well, that's a good point, because I think you're right. Some businesses offer free Fridays. Like, they don't even have to come in. They can work from home on Fridays. And for
Yeah,
instance,
but even the roads are empty.
Yeah.
I guess too is the point. Like Monday, I was like, "Oh, this summer drive is great," and then Tuesday, I was like, "Just kidding."
yeah, well, typically I run against traffic. So there was a fair amount of traffic on the other side, but on my side, it's usually, you know, it's busy, but today it was super easy. So it gave me plenty of time because I actually got here. I left my house at like 6:15 because I had to stop and get donuts from Gail Ann's. The hockey puck donuts that we like to lovingly refer to.
I'll be digging in a minute. I'm just looking one thing up.
And then I thought, oh, I'm just going to be, you know, just be cutting it close. But it was so, I got here at 6:45. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a run up to Brewed Awakening. So they always make good coffee and good, I haven't had a coffee there in a long time because I do enjoy their hot chocolate. That's the kid in me. All right, Cliff, what else you got? What else?
John, from the first hour, wants your take on this is about 3 weeks old now, I think. Kristi Noem was having a press conference, and the senior senator from California, Alex Padilla, crashed it.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Right. Is there an update on that?
No.
Okay.
That John thinks that security should have just politely led him back
him.
out of the room.
Yeah. Well, I think it was performative on both sides. And I think that's what we're getting in politics is political theater constantly at the expense of sober analysis like what we do here, Cliff. I'm not doing anything performative with you. I'm going to keep it straight. Oh, speaking of Detroit, John Deaton, who I interviewed, you know, he was the former candidate. He ran against Elizabeth Warren.
Yep.
He's from Highland Park, Michigan.
Ah.
Which is Detroit. It's a neighborhood of Detroit. And that place is dirt poor. And I'm surprised. You know, you always get these sort of diamonds in the rough, these people who come up out of these horrible situations. And Highland Park is no picnic. That is like worse than Detroit proper. And apparently he wrote a memoir. So I haven't ordered it yet off of Amazon. It's not available in Kindle. But
I knew someone who wrote a book, and I was interested in the book. I bought it. It was called Party in Crisis, about the Democratic Party. And I got through 40 pages and decided I had to read it in Kindle.
was it really tiny print?
Yeah. And
when no page breaks or whatever they
so
call
I
it.
so I went to the publisher's website. I found a name with an email address, and I emailed him and asked him if there was a Kindle version available.
I should ask John, because that's the way I prefer
yeah.
to read.
And a week later, I get a complimentary copy of the Kindle
Oh, I like that
version.
even better.
Yeah.
I think his book is, when I don't think he went through a major house, so the book is, in my opinion,
Yeah.
highly priced. So if he can send me an electronic version, that would be awesome. But in the bio that they put on Amazon, he talks about how he grew up in a single, his mom was a single mom, and 6 kids by 4 different fathers. Like, he grew up on food stamps and all that kind of stuff. But a really interesting conversation. I don't know if he's going to run against Markey. He didn't say. I told him to keep me on speed dial, and when he announces, to let me know. But I think Markey is vulnerable. I think if someone, honestly, I think they're all vulnerable, actually. I think there's a shift in the ground going on in the electorate, and
Lori Trahan's got to watch out too.
I think all of them do, and I don't, I'm not saying this to throw shade on any of them.
Well, while we're at it, okay, what's Lori Trahan done for Lowell?
Well, lately, I think their hands are definitely tied. It's easy to be a winner when you control
Okay,
the person.
she's been down there for 45 years. What has she done for Lowell?
Oh, she's done. She's brought in a ton of money to the city.
That any congressperson would have brought in.
Well, and
Just as much as Nikki.
No, John, I totally
What
agree with
extra
you.
has she done?
Yeah.
Okay, like we have 40 million, we need 40 million bucks, Laurie. We need 40 million bucks for the school screw up.
Oh,
Cough it up.
you were right about that, by the way. Do you remember us talking about that? And I said, I think it's going to come in between 13 and 20 million, and you said, no, it's going to be north of 30. I think you both said it's going to be north of 30 million. I was like, that's crazy talk. No, wait. And then it was 40 million. I was like,
And they're only halfway done.
yeah.
I would sue the pants off Scamper or whatever the name of this company. I'd sue the pants off.
Well, here's
Finish the project and I'll sue them.
Again, this isn't to be a negative Nancy.
What's the impact here?
What's that, Eileen?
Sorry, I just took it off speaker and then Anthony started talking to me. But I did want to mention that the city, the $2 million that the city was supposed to give us,
Yeah.
is still not happening. So the 38 staff that were pink slipped still have to be pink slipped.
Right. In fact, they're not going to revisit that until August. Is that right? I'm trying to remember my notes on that subject.
There's
Summer
deliberacy
hours,
there,
yep.
so they can collect unemployment. There's deliberacy there. Oh, we'll see, if we do that, they won't be able to collect unemployment.
Oh, by the way, there's another challenger for the school committee. Shelley, is her name Shelley?
Sherry O'Connor Barbosa, and she pulled papers for both city council
She
and school
did,
committee.
yeah, and, she's appeared before the school committee quite a few times to testify in public hearings, or, just to take the podium to speak to a motion or whatever. But, yeah, I was talking to Will Rosenberry about that. I said, is there any precedent for somebody to apply to run for both the school committee and
Well, he just got there.
the city council? And he said he'd have to look it up, but, people can hold 2 jobs,
Yeah, Eddie Kennedy did. Eddie
That's
Kennedy
the
had
example he gave,
he had a
so
low job and a state job at the same time.
I don't know if, I'm sorry, is it Sherry? For
Sherry
Eileen?
Barbosa is my memory.
Yeah, so I don't know if
Sherry
she's,
Barbosa.
I don't know if she's hedging her bets or if she's really going to make a run for both positions, but, it's kind of smart in one way because you only need the same signatures on both petitions. You could.
Really?
Yeah, I think you can just get the same people. Oh, John, I am impressed with you.
Well, actually, Eileen sent me a bunch of pictures.
Oh, so District 5 and District 3, so I'd have to see if those overlap.
Yeah, I want to say that's of last Tuesday at like 9 a.m. when I was down there. Not this past Tuesday, but like last week Tuesday.
When did
I
you
was
talk to Will?
interested to see because there's a lot of new people coming to the race.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think this is probably one of the more dynamic races that we've had. Well, I can't speak historically because I've only covered 2 of them. This will be my second. Yeah, I came in 2022, so there was a race in 2023, and now there's a race in 2025. So it's going to be interesting. And they still have time. They have until the 22nd to file
To
papers.
return your papers, yep.
Yeah, to
return your
get all
papers.
your signatures in and that they're certified.
Correct.
Okay, so let's take a quick break here.
Okay.
Eileen's having a signing party Not in Lowell, it turns out. Tell us about it, Eileen.
It's one of my very favorite places on earth, Brothers Pizza in Drake, which is right over the Centerville line. But I really wasn't going to have a party until September. Maybe like the second week of September, but I realized I need signatures, and I really need to get on this because it's just been a busy summer between my son's summer school and baseball and just life in general. So I'm going to have a signing party on this Sunday, July 13th at Brothers Pizza in Drake, and there'll be lots of good food. So
What time?
Please come and attend. And you can't sign my papers, Melanie, but you can eat some food
What
in
time?
exchange for your donut.
Yeah, there you go. So what time is your signing?
From 2 to 5.
Eileen, if you don't mind just texting me that, I can throw it in the 5-minute read.
Okay, all right.
That's
Thank
totally
you.
appropriate. I would love to do that. When people, give me stuff, I try to find a place for it in the paper. So John Deaton, he may well, announce to run against Markey, which I think he potentially could do well.
He now has a radio program?
Does he? He didn't talk about that. Where is he? What radio station is he on?
I think WRKO
Oh, okay.
on Sunday evenings. That's
Okay.
680.
All right. Is that recent, or has he been doing that for a while?
I just heard it for the first time in the last week.
Okay, I'll have to tune into that. So maybe he is, he might be itchy. He might be ready to do something, something else. But he was an interesting interview.
The
Oh, there you
Hard
go.
Truth with John Deaton,
Oh, there you-
WRKO. And now he's got right here, John Deaton, Republican for U.S. Senate. Well,
Is
let
that-
me slide it over you so you can see.
Is
what
that
I'm talking
from,
It's from
Two-
SoundCloud, they're quality people.
yeah, but, that was,
Then he's got
Elizabeth
this
Warren
one
just
here.
won, yeah. So
He's
this
a
is,
Marine. Mm-hmm. Let's click and see what this thing here says. John Deaton.
he has a nice website,
He's a bald dude, right?
yeah, yep.
I think he was here. Didn't we have him once, Cliff?
I think so.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He has a lot to say, and I was happy to hear it. And what I do like about him, I've only spoken to him once, but he's not practiced. He doesn't give you the talking points, or at least it didn't sound like talking points to me. It didn't sound like a canned delivery, like he was working off of note cards.
Yeah.
He seemed like a very authentic. He gave me 45 minutes, which is a lifetime. Yeah, I'm lucky if I get 5. Normally, it's like 3 to 5 minutes, and you're lucky if you get 10. So that was quite generous of him. And so I gave him a good shout out in the paper.
So he wants some sort of a deal on immigrants, right?
Right, he said he didn't see the problem in maybe giving amnesty to people who've been here for a long time. But then that the Democrats and Republicans should sit down and make a deal to figure it out. And he's against the ICE enforcement as it's currently taking place with the masks, and they wear they look like schlubs, They're wearing like Dockers or, not
Well,
Dockers.
we talked about this a little bit before. I don't think you should ever arrest somebody in front of their kids.
Well, they're going into churches. They went into churches in the Archdiocese in LA.
Well, if that's where you're going to go.
Going into
so, Eileen,
schools?
if you're going to arrest me and I choose to go and hide in a church, what are you supposed to do? Sit outside, wait for me to come out?
Oh, they're just coming in. I think Trump signed that executive order that gives them.
But I
carte
think that
blanche.
what they should do is surround the church and then have the boss go in with a witness and say, good morning, Melanie. We need to talk to you outside, please. And if you go like, no, well, Melanie, if you don't come outside and talk to us,
Well,
we're going to have to do this right here in front of all your friends and family. Or we can do it privately outside.
Well, John, they would never meet their 3,000 people a day quota if they were civilized and, asked permission. It's much better to snatch and grab. But, it is interesting. I feel like the separation between church and state has been unraveling for a long time. And with that executive order, he definitely went behind the curtain. You know, those used to be, we had sanctuary cities, well, we had sanctuary churches. Churches were like no bans, you couldn't cross that threshold, and now you can.
That's right.
So I think there's a lot of shifting, what do you call that?
Well, I like
Shifting-
the fact the church can now say, vote for Melanie.
Well, that's another separation, right, that's another thing that's.
Great thing. Now the church can get up there and say.
Well, I think that's the bone, that you get this bad thing where there's no sanctity of, you know, the church space, like hallowed ground, right? And so
the
now-
church can say, the only thing I don't like about Melanie is this, this, and this, and they can now say that.
Don't go to that church, John, yeah.
But
stay away from that
It's a
church.
thing where the
Heathens.
churches were prevented, because they'd lose their tax-free status.
Yeah, well, I don't think
Can
they.
we
Oh,
go back
go ahead,
to
sorry, I'm
mass for a
Cliff,
minute?
go ahead, yep.
Can we go back to mass for a minute? Are people doxing ICE agents and their families?
When you say doxing an ICE agent, what do you mean by that, Cliff?
By ICE agent, I mean a member of the federal government, a police officer responsible for immigration and customs activities.
What's doxing?
By doxing, I mean that someone publishes in a place like
Lowell Sun.
X or
The Lowell Sun.
Blue Jay or something like that, your personal information so that we know who you are and where you are.
What color my toenails are.
No, we don't care what color your toenails are.
So publishing personal information about me, and
Yeah,
you're not me, I should be able to sue you.
shoulds are,
I think they'd avoid a lot of that if they just wore official official insignia. You know, like police
you
officers
don't
are,
think they would dox them?
I think what I've seen or read, I don't have firsthand experience with this, but what I've seen or read is that they're trying to identify people who are not identifying themselves and may or may not be federal officers.
Who
Because they're
would
not
they
wearing
be?
any, well, I don't know, they could be deputized, regular Joes, I don't know who I think it's weird, super weird, that you can just present yourself in public as a combat soldier with no insignia.
So-
And no, no badge, no nameplate, no nothing. A lot of this gear, this
Which
so-called
camera is
gear.
this?
Yeah, look at that.
I gotta go over here. Look at this. Oh, come on now, don't dump out on me. Good stuff. So I'm gonna grab one of these. I gotta figure out what we have. These look wonderful.
I'm telling, there's chocolate, what do you call it? Chocolate glazed,
I'm gonna take this surprise guy.
plain glazed, sprinkles.
Up, he's stuck. That's okay.
What's that? Oh, is that the glaze?
Yes.
Yeah, those are good.
And gonna close this guy back up again. Clifford, you gonna take now?
No.
They must get up at like, I love,
They probably go home early too.
yeah, I
You gonna
always.
take one?
I did. I have it waiting for me.
Oh, okay.
I can't eat and talk at the same time. You know, I have a lot to say. But I would love to run a bakery. In my alternative universe, I'd love to own a bakery.
For one day?
Yeah, but I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's my challenge. I mean, I get up at 5:30, but that extra 2 hours, like sometimes when I would fly to Detroit, I would catch the 6
What time do you go to bed?
10 or 11, yeah, I mean, but, I would catch that 6 a.m. JetBlue flight out of Logan, and you have to get up at 3, because back then, there
Yeah.
was all that, particularly during COVID and all the long lines, and that's a popular flight, and oh my gosh, those 2 hours would break me. So that's the thing that keeps me from doing a bakery, I think. Well, I'd have to do an evening bakery. But this place opens at like 6 o'clock. That's early.
Yes.
So John Deaton, maybe he'll run for Senate, which would make it interesting.
It would.
He's got a radio show.
Yep.
Call him up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, I wonder if he does just a
Simple one.
dialogue or if he does call-in. That's interesting. I'll have to check.
Simple one.
Yeah.
Then you can explain all you want.
I told him to keep me on speed dial. When he announces, let me know.
So I don't think the Democrats are interested in a compromise.
I don't think anybody is, unfortunately. So I think, I'm not sure how it's going to play out, honestly. I think the ICE actions are egregious. I think that's counterproductive. It's going to hurt people and it's going to hurt the economy.
So are mass officials who say illegal immigrants are not illegal correct?
Well, some of them are legal, but they're not officially legal. Like, they might have a work permit, they might be under TPS. They're here legally, but they're not an official citizen. Or they might be pending green card, or they might be pending, there are quite a, I'm sure.
Oh, wait, so that's an interesting divide.
But they're picking up people regardless.
I've been noticing legal immigrants are showing a certain amount of resentment towards illegal immigrants because they're being lumped together, except the legal immigrants have to go through the burden of doing it the right way. The extra costs, the extra time, the lawyers. So legal immigrants, I think, are kind of resentful of illegal immigrants who just pop up and...
You know, it'd be interesting to have somebody from, what is that, the International Institute of Immigration, or they're right down on, you know, to come in and really explain the language, because I think some of the barriers to having a coherent conversation about this subject is that the language is lacking. And like, some of these people have been picked up by ICE when they've gone to their immigration hearing, so they're complying. They're going to their hearing as part of their process to stay in the country, and they're being taken. And I find that offensive. Here, people are actually trying to find offensive. I find it frightening. People who are actually trying to comply with the law are being snatched right out of the courthouse while they're going to their hearing, that the government asks them to come to check in.
Well, sometimes they're being snatched while they're for hearings for other things, so.
No doubt, you know, if that's a different.
And the judge, we got a case where a judge is protecting an illegal immigrant who is being tried for some other crime. That's not good.
I do think that and I think we can all agree on this, is that the immigration issue has been politicized. You know, I think it's been turned into political theater. Build that wall, you know. Now it's, you know, masked agents rampaging through California and at some point through Lowell. I don't know if they'll be back, but, you know, it's not a good look. And it doesn't strike me as an enforcement action, really. It strikes me as a theatrical action.
But on Mondays, we have a person who zooms in from the Tampa, Clearwater part of
Florida?
Florida.
Okay.
And his girlfriend, who has 3 daughters who are eligible to be U.S. president, who is on U.S. Social Security, but is a Canadian citizen. And she's been trying to get U.S. residency legally, spending hundreds of dollars on medical tests and going through various and sundry activities. Wouldn't it be easier for her just to go to Mexico and then walk across the border and go to...
apply for asylum? Yeah, well, that's what I feel like much of our legislative and legal framework is grounded in the loophole rule. You know, how can you, for instance, President Trump, he knows he's going to have trouble getting his nominees through Congress. So what does he do? He gets Rubio through Congress. He gets Congress to approve Rubio's appointment to the State Department. And then he appoints him to 2 other positions, which do require congressional approval, but he uses a loophole and avoids that by just, having him run and now Scott, the transportation guy, is now going to run another department. And, he's going to run NASA. Mr. FAA is going to run NASA. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's not technically wrong, but it's a loophole. And, is a loophole a legal mechanism that we're going to have to get used to? It doesn't feel right? And I feel like we're governing with a lot of loopholes. And so then a loophole is not here nor there, not, it's sort of this gray area.
there are some Democrats who take the position that President Trump is illegitimate.
Oh, still? Really?
I think so.
Oh.
Don't you think Jasmine Crockett feels that way?
Oh, well, I'm not aware, I don't track her, but,
Well, I realize she's a Texan and all.
well, I think we're in a difficult situation because, particularly in Massachusetts, because we're not run by Republicans, so we're frozen out of the conversations, and it seems like we're frozen out of the
I mean,
purse strings.
Ed Markey's out there saying that Republicans are going to kill people by their actions.
Yeah, I think this hyperbole isn't grown up. I think, and I don't think that's resonating. And, John raised a really good point. John Deaton raised a really good point. He said, Trump didn't win Massachusetts, obviously, but he flipped Fall River. And he had a better showing than what was expected.
Yep.
And what did he get, 40% of the vote? Or something, or 30%? I can't remember. I'm,
Yeah.
flying by
puzzling
the...
thing to me about Deaton, he doesn't fault the party. The Republicans have a crappy party. The Democrats have a magnificent machine. And Deaton doesn't admit that. The Democrats should be congratulated on the magnificent machine they have to get the candidates elected. And the Republicans, Charlie Baker will fix it, did nothing. And Deaton is going to do nothing as well.
There does seem to be agitation in the electorate. I feel like people are looking for a change. And I think this business as
And
usual.
the old timers who run the Republican Party right now go like, let me block my ears.
That's interesting, John. He talked about that because he said he wanted to run as a independent. But it's really hard, particularly in the primaries. And so I don't know what he's going to do. But I think now is probably the time, the best time ever to, plant your flag. Because I think the Democrats are vulnerable. I think the same talking points aren't going to make it. They don't have access to money, which is where they pulled a lot of their power.
Well, I think John's correct when you look at Massachusetts, but when you look across the United States, I think the Democrats have some serious issues, like Mahoney, who is the Democrat nominee to be the mayor of
New York City.
New York City. I mean, he has some pretty radical positions.
He's done.
He's done?
He's done.
Yeah. Most political pundits say he's going to win.
He's done.
I think he's,
How's he going to lose?
well, they're ramping up against him, the corporate
The
donors
unenrolled are
are.
not going to, the unenrolled make the decision, Cliff. I mean, I know that you're Republican and you think that, oh, we're Republicans of this. It's not true. The unenrolled are
Well,
the
that's
ones.
not true.
The unenrolled
Go
are the
ahead.
ones who decide who's going to get elected and who's not. And they're not going to vote for this Maldani guy.
I don't know. I think he's got a 50-50 chance. I think he's like the AOC of, 4 years ago when she
Yeah.
burst, or 6 years, has she been there that long? I think he's resonating with people. I think, from my perspective, when I was talking about how a lot of these politicians have their canned speech. Do you remember John Edwards running for president?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could almost quote his stump speech from memory because it was the same thing. I'm the son of, he would go into, raised by working class parents, and meanwhile he's got his $500 haircut, and it didn't jive. It was a disconnect. And he never said anything fresh, new, or original.
So in New York City, you've got Mahoney running against Eric Adams, who's an independent.
Right, what a crock, right?
Yeah, and the current mayor.
Yeah.
You have Andrew Cuomo, who lost the primary, and he's apparently still running.
Of course he is. These people can't stop themselves.
And you have the fellow from the Street Knights, what are they called?
Linda, I can't,
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
So you have three people running against Mahoney, and they're going to divide the voters. So Mahoney could win just because
He
Andrew
peels
Cuomo.
off.
Yeah.
Right, those votes could go either way. You're absolutely right. Remember Tara Hung
Yeah.
and Dominic Lay and Roddy Mom? And Dominic's 300 votes, or 387 votes that Dominic got, probably added did not help Tara Hung's first race for the 18th Middlesex District, because he lost by what, 31 votes or something? So the spoiler, Dominic as the spoiler, maybe affected that. But as the spoiler in the matchup, Hung spanked Roddy Mum.
Yeah.
So in that case, it seemed like Roddy was hurt by the spoiler. So it's hard to suss out, right? You just have to wait till the results come in.
Well,
And
what did Reddy do? You've been a reporter for a long time. What did Reddy do?
I didn't cover him, and
Oh, that's not a good excuse.
no,
What did
yeah,
he
well,
do?
that's not my.
You read your paper.
I
What did
do,
he
but I can tell you this: there are some. This is not a dodge; it's more like an explanation. Is that there are some representatives, some members of the legislative body who are really good with publicity, like sending out press releases, keeping us in the loop, making sure that we're up to date on the legislation that they're proposing and the bills that, he didn't really do any of that. So when I say I didn't report on him, there was nothing to report he wasn't my area of coverage, but even if he had been, it would have been a hard beat, because there really wasn't a lot coming out of his office. Now, in contrast,
Did he ever call you back?
well, I never interviewed him, because honestly, at that time, that was Cameron Morseberger who was in charge.
Did he have no trouble getting a hold of him?
I don't, I can't speak for Cameron, but I don't think he was in the paper a lot, because we never got anything out of I don't remember getting that much out of his office. Now, in contrast, I will say that Rodney Elliott and Vanna Howard and Tara Hung are much better communicators.
Really?
Yeah, they keep things.
The cowardly lion.
I don't know why you shouldn't name call John. We got to keep it. We got to keep it
No, that's
Professional.
my
professional.
That's-
Yeah.
I'm not a professional. I'm a hobbyist.
Well, but we consider you.
You
a
know who I'm
professional.
talking about when I
We're
say
taking a
Because
break.
you've said it before,
We're
but-
taking a break. We're taking a break. Last night, the License Commission approved a license for the sale and dispensing of wines and malt beverages only for the a party on Saturday the 12th for the MBECUDA USA fundraiser.
LMNOP.
What is that? Yeah.
I have no
USA.
idea.
You
All right.
voted for it?
Yeah, this will be at the Hellenic Center, and they're raising money for clean water in Cameroon. So if you
Oh.
want to go and have a wine or a beer, you can go to the Lennox Center at 41 Broadway Street, and this will be from 7 to 1:30 a.m.
41 Broadway.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Did you say camel run? Like camel ride?
No, I said Cameroon.
Oh, Cameroon. Okay. I'm sorry.
So
All right.
this is a chance to support clean water in Cameroon. So
That's a good thing. I'm going to have to catch up on that meeting.
yeah.
This body does a lot of work. Oh yeah, I'm writing a story about this, about how all the businesses on the periphery of the Lowell Folk Festival are all holding amplified entertainment. Like
Yeah.
it's really good. It's the circles extend out from the main footprint of the festival, which I think is super interesting. Has that always been the case? They've always, yeah. Well, I've only
Like the Wharton is always set up in the parking lot across the street.
Right, and I think that's great. I think
Yeah.
that's a really smart thing. I only started covering the License Commission this year, so this is all new to me, but I'm glad to hear that that's something that's been going on for a long time. So it becomes one big party.
Yes, it's a big party.
Big party, thanks to the License Commission approving all the amplified
Yeah.
entertainment.
So you wrote about the open meeting law,
Yes,
and we apparently have been in violation of the open meeting law from time to time.
repeatedly, actually. And what's interesting about that story, and thank you for bringing that up, is that you have a lot of heavy hitters on the city side who really should know better. And you've got this lone wolf, Laura Ortiz, who's just a regular resident, who is not always, she bets about 50%, well, a little bit better than 50%.
She's batting like nobody else.
But she's bringing it. Yeah, she's bringing it, and she's being found. I'd say not as high as 2/3, but I'd say more than 50%, but not. Anyway, the AG's office, the Attorney General's office, when she files her complaints, the city has time to respond. And if she's not satisfied with that response, she can file a formal complaint. And so she filed these formal complaints, which triggers a formal investigation. And so she filed a complaint in March, and they reviewed it by May, and they found in favor of a lot of her things, is that they're not posting, John, of course, does a great job, John Pryor, but they're not posting notices in a proper format, in a timely format, with the proper information. They're not filing minutes that represent what happened to a person who could read it and understand what happened at the meeting, even if they weren't there. They're not recording
Is
votes.
that just the city council, Melanie? I'm sorry to interrupt.
For this latest batch of complaints were just for the city council, but she previously has filed against the school committee as well. But apparently.
Yeah, I'm sure she has another batch against the school committee because
she
there's been
does?
a lot of issues with that. But I'm only guessing just because I know some agendas haven't been posted in time, and there's been issues that have been brought to the floor that Leon's like, we can't, the superintendent will say we can't talk about this because it wasn't posted in enough
Properly,
time.
right. They have not been properly posted. And this is those are the guardrails. You're supposed to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And these,
I have to check the next agenda, but for a long time, they were posting the amount of money for various and sundry bus contracts, and then they stopped posting that money in the agenda, so I'm worried about that.
on the school committee, I think they
Yeah.
do that under permission to
Yeah.
enter, right,
Yeah.
Eileen?
Yeah, correct. It was in the last permission to enter the contracts with Nix, and really, I believe the majority of them were in there for the 26 school year, fiscal year 26, the permission to enter because we voted on it.
I'm going to barge in here because we're running out of time.
Why not?
The Tingsboro Block
honey?
Party.
He's going to do his calendar items.
Tingsboro Block Party is coming up Saturday, August 23rd. A fun will be had by all. 11 p.m. That's a late night. Mm-hmm. They're going to have the fireworks. Wowzers. So that'll be a good time. Linda will talk more about that when we see Linda. Coming up this weekend.
Some chick named Eileen Delrossi.
Yep. Sunday, July 13th, 2 to 5 p.m. at the Brothers Sports Bar out in delightful Drake at 101 Broadway Road, suite number 1. Swing in there, have a slice of pizza, and sign Eileen Delrossi's re-election papers. If you want to give Eileen some dough, there's a QR code right down here. You can zoom in there and take a picture of that with your fancy phone or bring it to a website, and you give her $25. And
Yep, and it's not only pizza, it's pretzel sticks. We're having chicken broccoli and ziti. We're having a chicken parm calzone, or chicken parm calzone.
So come
We're
hungry.
having a steak and cheese calzone.
Wow.
so
We're going
sounds
to
delicious.
have a Caesar salad.
it doesn't say on the
the
ticket,
chicken-
Eileen, it doesn't say on the
All right.
ticket to come
There'll be
hungry.
lots of goodies.
Come hungry.
It should say come hungry. But it doesn't. So that's Sunday, and you're going to be there?
She'll be there.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll be there.
All right, page 2. No relation to me. Good guy, Sean McDonough. Have you met him yet?
No. We
Nice
can
kid.
have nice things. Oh, that's a.
He's 29, nice kid. He's having a summer campaign kickoff party. We can have nice things. It's going to be on Tuesday.
So that's Wayne Janessa's district.
Yes.
So you actually did run. Remember?
I'm
your
tickled
name,
pink.
your name is running.
So Sean's having a part, no relationship. The kiddo's from Methuen, and he has all my support. Good guy. Lives in downtown Lowell. He actually lives in the building WCAP's in. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
the Market Street,
My
yeah.
friend Gary Frascarelli, Gary Francis, he told me that Sean lives upstairs. So Sean's been here a couple of times, and interesting fellow, smart guy, and I think he'd make a good city councilor for this district. There's a QR code on the, if you take your fancy phone, you can learn more about this character, Sean McDonough. But he wants you to come down Tuesday to the whopping left
I like his 3 Ps, parks, parking, pedestrian safety.
on 197 Market Street. So hope to see you there Tuesday. What time? Let me see a time there.
5 o'clock.
5 p.m. Okay,
Yep.
good. So we'll see you there at 5 p.m.
What day is July 15th?
It's a Tuesday,
Tuesday, okay.
but it's every other week for the city council. So-
Correct, right.
So they be off. So if you got nothing to do city council night, there's no city council meeting. Get out and shake this guy's hand. I think you'd like him. Back over to you, Cliff. Those are the only announcements I have. I'll go back to senior lunches on Monday. I didn't have time to scan them in yet.
Senior wenches will be here
Lunch.
Monday. I love senior wenches.
Get a little grog and wenches and you're off to the races.
Okay.
You remember senior wenches, yes?
I don't know any.
I'm surprised. So anyway, a Massachusetts blogger who calls herself the new Neo said, asked what's the left's goal in staging these LA riots? And what's our understanding of what went down? So she said Governor Gavin Newsom, aided and encouraged by Mayor Karen Bass and Representative Maxine Waters, wants to play Jefferson Davis.
Oh.
You know, I'm a state, I can do what I want, no matter what the federal government says. Did the ICE arrest spark the riots? Was it federal overreach? I mean, Claudia Scheinbaum seems to think it was federal overreach, but do we respect her opinion?
I think it's interesting that the party that made its bones on states' rights is really pounding the federal rights message. I mean, it does seem very, very hard, that it doesn't matter, that the feds can do what they want, when they want, how they want, and, when when they say jump, you say how high. So it does seem like a perversion in the same way with the church issue. Nothing is what it seems anymore. There's no clarity on.
I may have misunderstood what you just said, because to me, the party of states' rights is the Democratic Party, right?
No, I think the Republicans, in my opinion, the Republicans have always been states' rights. I feel like the roles have reversed.
Remember Jeff Davis?
Yeah, that was states' rights.
One of the worst Democratic presidents this country's ever had.
Well, you're talking, right, yeah.
Yeah,
no, right.
exactly.
But it was Democrat, but the politics were, they've switched their names, but yes, yeah. But that's a semantic thing. But in terms of policy, they've stayed consistent.
And
They might have changed their name, but they're still state rights.
They kept running that states' rights thing. They defeated Reconstruction, and
Well, let's
when
not
I was
call,
growing up, Orville Faubus in Arkansas, and what's his name in Alabama? George Corley Wallace in Alabama. They were all doing states' rights, pushing the right of the state to do as it sees fit. And
Yeah, in name they were Democrat.
That's what Gavin Newsom
right,
was doing.
but they were, they were far right, what I think you
Far
could.
right?
Oh, for sure. And I think this is where it's getting interesting now. These labels aren't working anymore because now the Republicans are like federal power here, federal power yesterday, federal power today, and federal power tomorrow. And it's kind of like, okay, we've changed the goalposts. So I think people have whiplash because there's this.
Well, there is a certain amount of whip.
Yeah, you don't know if you're coming or going. So I think candidates who are very clear, even if you don't like it, like Mamdani, who are very clear about their messaging, are resonating. If John Deaton runs and he's very clear about his message, out of all this weird clutter that's going on, we're for it until we're against it, we're with you until we're not. There's all this, and then all these loopholes. I think these candidates have a fighting chance of upending the political order. And I think we're seeing that. I'm really excited, just to draw this back to the beginning of this conversation, to see all these people running for office in Lowell. I think that's really, I don't have a lot of history with Lowell's local politics, but this seems very fresh and very lively. And I don't know what any of the candidates, incumbents or challengers, chances are, but I'm cheered to see it, and I think this could be a competitive race. And I think that's good.
Well,
Now, if
after the
voters come out
first
to
two
vote,
elections, yeah, exactly.
then we've got a,
Tewksbury, 8%, Tingsboro, 3%.
yeah.
This is embarrassing.
Well, it could have been too, Cliff, that they didn't come out because it was the same old, same old. It's the same people running. There was hardly any competitive races.
No, see, I think you guys miss it completely. Voting's like golf. You people expect everyone's going to go golf today. If everybody went up to Mount Pleasant today to go golfing, or Long Meadow, or Vespo, if everyone, you couldn't get on the field, they're not prepared for everyone to go golfing today. And yet you want everybody to go and vote. And 95% of the people don't know what they're doing. And you could put a microphone and stop everybody on Gorham Street this morning and say, who's the mayor of Lowell? And many would say, isn't it Rita Mercia? And people don't know, 95% of the people who live in this community, I don't care if it's Tingsboro, Tewksbury, Lowell, they can't tell you who the elected officials are.
That's a good point. You're not wrong.
And
Yes, he is.
I don't want these people voting.
Voting is not like golf, it's like
Oh,
hydration.
I agree with that, but I mean
It's
about,
like hydration.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to hydrate, not everyone does.
I don't want ignorant people voting. I want people who know who the good elected officials are and who the crummy elected officials are to
Wait,
vote.
so you would say no Democrats should be allowed to vote?
Those are your words, not mine.
Yes, they were my words, and I posed them to you.
I got to take Melanie to task. I know she brought donuts and I was supposed to be wicked nice, blah, 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 blah.
well, I just think that if
2 weeks ago, in your column, you beat up Dominic and you beat up Bobby. And at what point, so I ran over
How? Dominic and Roddy.
and Bob Hoey. And you beat them both up over past things. Now, let's just zero in on Dominic for a moment.
I don't remember beating up Dominic, but what?
The city has not corrected the issue. The city does not ask anybody who pulls papers for ID. So Eileen, you can go down to the city today, pull papers, say, I'm Melanie Gilbert, I'm pulling papers. And you can fill out fraudulently, you can write down the Lowell Sun's address in Lowell if you still have one, or you can use my house's address if you want, and you can pull papers. The city will not ask you for ID. So I asked this guy, William, a nice fella, he said, that's up to the notary. I've been a notary for like 30 years. I don't have to know where you live to notarize your papers. If you come in to me, I know Melanie. John, you want to notarize this? Yeah, did you sign it? Yep, okay, good. Bam, I'll notarize your signature because I know you. Do I know where you live? Kinda, but I'm notarizing that you signed. Cliff didn't sign your name. You're telling me you signed that piece of paper. You're supposed to sign it in my presence, but if you already signed it, I don't really care as long as you present it to me. If I don't know the character that wants me to notarize something, I'll say, you got any government ID? I take a look at their driver's license, take a look at the picture. It says Melanie Gilbert, I give it back to the person. I do not check their address. Now Dominic, who the city, because somebody in the administration hates the guy's guts, and they're hiding behind, oh, don't tell him I hate him. Somebody hates Dominic's guts. And they try to nail him to the wall. And the city never corrected this. And nobody calls them on the carpet for it either. Oh, we don't want to do anything about that.
Or are you saying Dominic has a license that doesn't reflect his Lowell address?
I've no.
No, I don't.
No, I don't think he's trying to say
Are you
that.
are you using Cliff's silverware?
Well, I don't understand. So they're supposed to be.
Why don't you throw a Democratic thing in there too? That I hate Democrats. Put that in.
No, I'm just trying
Are
to
you
figure
saying
out
you hate
what.
Democrats? I just said.
I think
As a-
John's pointing out that there was a bad campaign against Dominic Lay, claiming that he didn't really live in Lowell and that he lived down near Boston.
Alston or
And
something?
therefore, he
Yeah.
couldn't hold a seat.
Right.
And it finally went to court. This is not a good thing.
And the
Not
ci-
only once, but 3 times.
And the city
he kept
lost.
winning, and they kept taking him back to court.
and the city
Time after
lost.
time again.
The city lost, and in your column, your keyboard, you continued to chastise Dominic Lee over this event. And he's already been found not guilty 3 times.
Well, it's part of the historical record. I don't, I think if so the election commission is,
Well,
Certifying nomination
This is why we
papers?
don't get people to run for office. I ran over my cat in 1954. And you know what? If I run for office, you're going to go find that, make me look bad.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go interview the cat.
And I think it's wrong. I think what the Lowell Sun through the column does, it kills them in the crib.
Well, it hasn't stopped Dominic from running.
It kills new candidates from running.
I don't think so. They're running like crazy this year.
Oh, no, they're not.
Wait, you brought up Bob Hoey because that sticks in my craw.
Okay.
Bob Hoey was run out of office because he said something that he shouldn't have said. I know that because I was the first one to call the show and say, we need to walk it back.
Oh, well.
If John remembers. But Bob was frustrated trying to remember someone's name, and he used a racial slur to describe him.
No, that's not the story, Cliff. My memory of it is, Bobby was talking about after the school committee meetings,
Yeah,
he would go with his colleagues over to Cobblestones,
yes.
and they'd be drinking. And
Well,
they
that's
would,
not a good-
they would use racial slurs, the N-word, the K-word, and the G-word, when they were talking about colleagues on the school committee.
Oh, shame on them.
And that's what he was referring to. And because people say, what's the G word? I ain't going to say that because Melanie's here. What's the N word? I ain't going to say that because Melanie's here. What's the K word? I'm not going to say that either. We're going to continue to talk in code.
My recollection is he was trying to remember the name of the finance officer in the school system.
That was what jives with our reporting, right?
And so he made a mistake. He made a bad mistake, but I don't think that it was,
The crucifixion continues through today.
yes, and that's the problem. And unless we learn to make up, who is it? Menachem Begin says, you don't make peace with your friends, you make peace with your enemies. And there was an article someone floated by me at some town down in the south that they were trying to reconcile the black and Caucasian members of the community. And there was a proposal to move the Confederate soldier statue to the courthouse. And all of a sudden, people came out and said, oh, no, you can't do that. That's disrespectful. You know, that's not compromise. You need to find the compromise. There's, when we look at Gaza, I don't think anyone's looking, except for 5 sheiks who just popped up, I don't think there's anyone looking for a compromise in Gaza. And those 5 sheiks want to take their section of Gaza and they want to cut a deal with Israel, but nobody else does.
Hey, we're running short on time before we go. Melanie, we have any fireworks coming out of the column this weekend?
No, I'm going to keep it really sedate, John, just for you. But I will say, if Dave Nagel ran for office again, we would bring up his past sins.
True.
I think this is all part of that narrative, or their past allegation.
If Mary Good Two Shoes, who got arrested for drunk driving 5 years ago, if she runs for office, are you going to put that in the paper?
If she was a public official at the time?
No, she's not. She's not. She's running for office. Mary Good Shoes is running for office.
And she got pulled over for...
She got arrested for drunk driving 5 years ago.
Well, I think we'd have to parse it and figure out, did she appear before a
How
judge?
is-
Did she plead out?
How is that important?
Well, I think these are sort of drunk driving. I think that's a pretty big deal, honestly.
Oh, okay.
So I think the voter has to decide. The voter might not care. We see that with President Trump. The guy is like Teflon. He's like Ronald Reagan. People don't care. They don't care about his sins. So some people can get away with it,
We like them.
and that's fine. And some people can't. So can I make sense
So
of that?
we're,
No.
not, we're never going to have anybody who's ever been arrested run for office because they don't want that brought up.
Wait. Selena Zito's got a new book out.
Who? No, say it again. I just
I'm
didn't hear you.
glad you
Selena
said that. I'm so
Zito.
glad you said that.
guys on the-
Selena Zito. You've never heard of Selena?
Oh, he loves this. He loves
Give me
this.
context.
She's a reporter from southwestern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Now I think she does columns in the New York Post.
Oh, New York Post.
She was President Butler when Trump was shot,
Oh,
and she has a book out.
or mayor, was she the mayor of Butler?
No, she was a reporter.
Oh.
But in 2016, I was reading what she was writing, and I was convinced that Trump was going to win
Oh, interesting.
because
Okay.
Selena Zito was talking to the average voter, not some elite crowd.
I totally agree. And the people who can connect with that average voter, provided they come out to vote,
Yep.
will win. And that's all I'm saying, is I think these canned politicians who are giving the same talking points.
Thanks
aren't-
for coming in.
Well, were we out of time?
We're out of time.
All right, till next time.
No,
Thank you.
We're still, for those,
I think Karen Reed should run for office.
Now you're talking.
no, you can conclude your thought because we have probably 500 people who watch it on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. so
Great.
If you,
Well,
if you continue, conclude your thought.
Well, I'll tell you that, I think it was Counselor Corey Robinson, I don't know if he had a second on this motion, but they asked the legislature to do that clean break law. I'm spitballing here, but it's so that people who have a record can basically not hide it, but they don't have to disclose it during their hiring process, to give them a second chance. I think it's called the Second Chance Bill. If they've served their time, and I think this is what you're speaking to, John, if people have served their time, whether it was drunk driving or saying an offensive,
G word.
yeah, or drunk driving, allegations or whatever, if they serve their time, then you should go and sin no more. And it shouldn't be part of the record. I don't know, that's an interesting conversation. We're not
Yeah.
like that right now. We're,
No.
on every application, they ask, do you have a prior conviction?
No, when you put your papers.
No,
Right.
not for politicians, but for jobs. So we have to decide,
Many job statements, not all.
I'd have to, I'm pretty,
I'll have to look at our employment application. But that's Selena's veto, and I'd say she's a looker, pretty woman.
who is she?
No, that's not Selena Zito.
Well, that's what Google says. Google lies. So,
Selena with an S.
I was going to say, I think right.
with an S,
Yeah. Selena Zito is a
a Zito.
60
Now, you're
ZITO.
S-A-L-I-N-A. Last name?
Zito, ZITO. That's her.
Oh, interesting.
She's
I'll have
a
to look her up.
normal 60-year-old woman.
Not a good picture of her. She should get this picture taken down off the internet. Get
Well, I think you have to
She's a
take
little-
people as they are. Yeah.
She's a little pudgy.
I never,
This is much prettier.
in my, well, everybody has good and bad days, John.
Well,
But,
they're shooting 400 frames a second.
and you raise a good point about that. They don't get to choose.
They tell you with their picture if they like the person or they don't. Now, the person who took this picture doesn't like her.
That's a bad angle. You're always going to get,
But when you publish that, you know that.
that's like when you're doing your Zoom, you
I'm
look
sorry,
terrible.
I like the picture.
My take
Yeah.
away the administration doesn't care for this person. And this one here, administration does like.
Well, that's a studio, and that's better lit, and she has great hair and
Why did this
makeup,
one get
and,
published?
So she captured me in 2016 She wrote an
Super
article about the
interesting. Yeah.
people in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And
Oh,
it resonated
right.
with me.
I'll have to look that
I got
up.
people who are still watching. Dominic did not sin. Someone unknown did by lying about him. How do you like that? So people are still watching the show.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Selena, Cliff, this question, when will Selena Zito be a guest?
Oh, good one. I like
Yeah, I
that.
never thought about that. But
Yeah, we gotta
let
think
me-
bigger.
Let me read the book and then I'll
Yeah, I'll
write and
definitely
ask
look her
them.
up. I like hearing these
Yeah.
little tidbits. Hey, where were all your writers today? Where's Jay and all your other? They didn't phone in today or write in?
I don't know. It's a bad internet day. We have some internet issues.
Oh, and they might be on vacation. Speaking of, how was your vacation?
My vacation was delicious.
Good.
Very good.
You look good.
Thank you.
I normally don't comment on people's looks, not in my writing, not in person, except one-on-one, but I'm doing it on the air now because you look rested and you look refreshed.
Thank you. So any party comments? Let's shut everybody's microphone off.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. On that note, I can't top that.
See you on Monday.
Eileen says goodbye too.